Namaste everyone, I'm your co-host Shawnee ma'am. Welcome to your favorite learning channel. The topic for today's video is simple permanent tissue, Sclerenchyma. So in our previous video, we had discussed about the nature, occurrence and functions of the other two types of simple permanent tissue, that is parenchyma and collenchyma. So in continuation with that, we would today be discussing about the sclerenchyma, which is a type of simple permanent tissue, and we would be discussing about the sclerenchyma in detail. Okay. So first let's begin with the nature of sclerenchyma. So this word sclerenchyma is derived from the word sclerenchyma. It is derived from a Greek word. Okay, it is derived from a Greek word where sclerus means, what does it mean? It means hard. Okay. So the sclerenchyma is coming from a Greek word where sclerus means hard. Okay. So the sclerenchymatous cells are, how are these cells? These cells are dead cells. Okay, they are not living cells, they are dead cells. And the cell wall of sclerenchymatous tissue, how is the cell wall of sclerenchymatous tissue? It is lignified, we can call. Okay, so the cell wall of sclerenchymatous tissue is lignified. That is, the cell wall is thickened due to the deposition of lignin, which is a chemical substance that acts as cement and it hardens them. Okay. So, due to excessive thickening of lignin, this cell cavity, due to the excessive thickening of the cell wall due to the presence of lignin, what happens here is the lumen, which is the cell cavity, is absent here. Okay. Then the sclerenchyma cells are closely packed. Okay. So the sclerenchymatous cells are closely packed so that there are no intercellular spaces between the cells. So intercellular spaces between the cells of sclerenchymatous tissue is absent here because they are very closely packed, and there is presence of a conspicuous middle lamella between two sclerenchymatous cells. There appears to be the presence of a middle lamella. Okay, so there is a middle lamella between the two sclerenchymatous cells. Between two sclerenchymatous cells. Okay. Then the middle lamella is a thin layer consisting of cementing substances. So this middle lamella, it consists of cementing substances like what? Like pectin, like lignin, and it also contains protein. So this middle lamella that is present between two sclerenchymatous cells, it is a thin layer and it consists of these cementing substances. Okay. Now let's talk about the occurrence of sclerenchyma. Let's see, where does the sclerenchyma occur in plants? Okay, so the sclerenchyma cells, they occur either in patches, they occur either in patches or in definite layers. Okay, and generally the sclerenchyma cells are present in, they are generally present in, where are they present? They are generally present in stems that are present around vascular bundles. Okay, and they can be present in the veins of leaves, then in the roots and in hard covering of seeds and hard covering of nuts. Okay, so the sclerenchyma cells are seen in, they can be seen where? They can be seen in the husk of a coconut, then they can be seen in the grit in apples, then in pears and in guava, and this forms, so the sclerenchymatous tissue or sclerenchyma cells, it forms the mesocarp in the fruit of coconut. It forms mesocarp in the fruit of coconut. Okay, so these are the places where we can find the sclerenchyma cells. Okay, now let's discuss about the types of sclerenchyma. Types. Okay, so types we will be discussing here is about sclerenchyma cells. Sclerenchyma cells. Okay, now sclerenchyma cells, so based on the structure, these cells are divided into two types. One is called the sclerids, and the other type of cells is the fibers. Okay, these are two types of sclerenchyma cells, and this division is based on their structure. Now let's first talk about the sclerids. Okay, so if we talk about sclerids, so they are also called grit stones or stone cells. Also called what? Grit stones or the stone cells. So the sclerids, grit stones or stone cells are one and the same. Now the sclerids are dead cells. They are not living, but they are dead cells, and they also have what? They also have pits. Then they are usually irregular in shape. So these sclerids are usually irregular in shape, and the sclerids, they are usually irregular in shape. This is in usual case, but they can also be, okay, sclerids, they may be They can be or they may be spherical. They can be oval, cylindrical, stellate shaped, or they can be dumbbell shaped. Okay. So the cell wall is very thick due to lignification. They have a very thick cell wall, and the sclerates are found in plant parts like such as they can be seen in cortex of the plants. They can be found in phloem, in pith, hard seeds, etc. Okay, and they are responsible for the rigidity of the seed coat. They are responsible for what? The rigidity of the seed coat. So the rigidity of seed coat is due to these sclerate cells. Okay. Now these sclerates can again be of three different types. So if we talk about sclerates, we can say that they can be again divided into three types, that is brachysclerates. Okay, brachysclerates. Then there is macrosclerates, and then there is osteosclerates. Okay, these are three different types of sclerate cells. Now what are brachysclerates? So these brachysclerates, and this classification, that is these three types of sclerates are classified based on their shape. So what are these brachysclerates? They are isodiametric sclerates. Isodiametric sclerates, and they are also called as stone cells. Then there is macrosclerates, and they are rod shaped sclerates, and these macrosclerates are also called as what? They are also called as rod cells. Then there are osteosclerates. So these osteosclerates are rod shaped sclerates. Okay, these are rod shaped sclerates, and these macrosclerates can be rod shaped and elongated. They are rod shaped and elongated, whereas osteosclerates are just rod shaped sclerates with dilated ends. Okay, and they are also called as what? They are also called as bone cells. Okay, so this classification is based on the shape of the sclerate cells. So there are three types, that is brachysclerates, macrosclerates, and osteosclerates. Brachysclerates have isodiametric shape, macrosclerates have rod shaped elongated cells. This is their shape, and osteosclerates have rod shaped with dilated ends. Okay, so this is about the three types of sclerates. So after this, now we will be discussing about fibers. Okay, so let's see what are fibers. We had already discussed that sclerenchyma cells were of two types. One is fibers and sclerates. So we already discussed about sclerates. Now let's move on to fibers. So the fibers, they are very long, narrow, thick and lignified. They are very long, they are also narrow, they are lignified and thick, and they are dead sclerenchyma cells. Okay, so the length of fibers, they vary in different plants. Generally the fibers are generally, how are they? They are pointed. They are generally pointed at both the ends, and grouped into, and they are grouped into strands. Okay, so the cell wall is evenly thickened with lignin. The cell wall is evenly thickened, and this is thickened with what? It is evenly thickened with lignin. Okay, and in transverse section the fibers are polygonal in shape. If we talk about the transverse section, then the fibers have polygonal shape. Okay, and the fibers that are found in the seed coat of some seeds, they are called surface fibers. Fibers found where? Found in seed coat of certain seeds, of some seeds. What are they called? They are called as surface fibers. Okay, and the longitudinal section of fibers show lignified thick cell walls. Okay, so the longitudinal section, that is the LS of fibers, they show lignified thick walls. Okay, they show lignified thick walls, and the main function of fiber is to protect the plants. Their main function, what is their main function? The main function is to protect, the plants from strong winds, and to provide, okay, and to provide mechanical strength to the plants. And the fibers can be obtained from various parts of the plant. So the fibers obtained economically from the plants are used for making paper, gunny bags, fabrics, ropes, etc. Okay, so this is about the fibers. Now let's discuss the functions of this sclerenchymatous tissue. So let's see what are the major functions performed by sclerenchyma. So we can say that the sclerenchyma cells, they provide strength. These cells, that is the sclerenchyma cells, provide strength. They provide strength, they provide rigidity, flexibility, and elasticity to the plants. Okay. Then the sclerenchyma cells are mechanical. These cells, they are mechanical cells and protective. They are mechanical and protective in function. Okay, and therefore they make the plant parts hard and stiff. Okay, then the sclerenchyma cells also make fibers useful for, they also make the fibers useful for what? Useful for various commercial purposes, like in making of gunny bags, ropes, etc. Okay, so these are some of the major functions that are performed by the sclerenchyma cells. Now let's quickly revise everything that we have studied today. So today we discussed about sclerenchyma tissue in detail. So first we studied about the nature of sclerenchyma cells. So the term sclerenchyma is derived from a Greek word where scleros means heart. These cells, that is sclerenchyma cells, are actually dead cells and their cell wall is lignified, that is the cell wall is thickened with the deposition of lignin, and this lignin is a chemical substance which acts as cement and hardens the cells. So we call these cell walls to be lignified, and due to excessive thickening of the cells due to the deposition of lignin, the lumen is absent in case of sclerenchymatous tissue. Okay, then they do not have intercellular spaces because the cells are very closely packed, and there is a presence of conspicuous middle lamella in sclerenchyma cells that is present between two sclerenchymatous cells, and this middle lamella is a thin layer and it consists of cementing substances like pectin, lignin and protein. Then we discussed about the occurrence of sclerenchyma cells. So they either occur in patches or in definite layers, and they are generally present in stems, around the vascular bundles, in veins of leaves, roots, and in hard coverings of seeds and nuts. They can also be seen in husk of coconut, grit in apple, pears, and guava, and these cells, they form mesocarp in the fruit of coconut. Then we also discussed that these sclerenchyma cells, they can be divided into two types based on the structure of these cells, and the two types are sclerites and fibers. So first we discussed about sclerites. So sclerites are also called grit stones or stone cells. So these sclerenchyma cells are dead cells and they also have pits. They generally or in usual cases have irregular shape, but they can also have spherical shape, oval, cylindrical, stellate or dumbbell shapes. Okay, so these are mainly found in the regions of plants like in cortex, phloem, pith and hard seeds. And these sclerate cells, they are responsible for the rigidity of the seed coat. Then we further studied that these sclerates can again be divided into three types, and this division is based on the shape of the sclerate cells. So the three types of sclerates are brachysclerates, macrosclerates and osteosclerates. So brachysclerates have isodiametric shape and they are also called stone cells. Then macrosclerates have elongated rod shaped cells and they are also called as rod cells. Then the osteosclerates, they have rod shaped with dilated ends and they are also known as bone cells. Okay. Then after sclerates we discussed about the fibers. So these fibers are very long, narrow, lignified and thick cells, and these cells are dead. And generally these fibers, they the length of the fibers, they actually keep varying in different plants, and generally the fibers are pointed at both ends and grouped into the strands, and the cell wall is evenly thickened by the presence of lignin. In transverse section of fibers we can see that they have polygonal shape, and the fibers found in seed coat of some of the seeds are called surface fibers. Then in longitudinal section the lignified thick walls can be observed. What is the function of fibers? So they mainly protect the plants from strong winds and they provide mechanical strength to the plants. Okay, then, and these fibers obtained economically from the plants are used for making paper, gunny bags, fabrics, ropes, etc. Then we finally discussed about the functions of Sclerenchyma cells. So these cells, they provide strength, rigidity, flexibility, elasticity to the plants. Then they are mechanical and protective in function. That is, Sclerenchyma cells are mechanical and protective in function, and thus they make the plant parts hard and stiff. Then the Sclerenchyma cells also make the fibers useful for commercial purposes, like they help in making ropes, gunny bags, fabrics, etc. Okay, so I hope you all would have got some great insights by watching today's video. Please do not forget to like and share the video. Till then, thank you for watching.